we're going to bring on Ryan, he, they from Michigan. It sounds like you want to discuss OCD and religion. Can you summarize a little bit of your story or your position?
Well, I'm not really super religious. I mean, I'm open to the idea of like there being like some type of higher power, but I don't know. There's not something like I would know it. And it's just that like I do have OCD, and like my OCD is a lot of things make it difficult for my life. And let's just say religious and OCD, they don't really go together that great. They go together like rice and mustard.
Have you tried it?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, but what specific ways? Yeah, what specific ways did religion kind of affect you in your life?
Well, I have hobbies, and I was told by like people that my hobbies will send me to hell. And because of OCD, my brain takes a lot of things very literally, and it's just like makes me not sleep at night sometimes. I'm better now, but like back then it was terrible.
Yeah, it sounds like that's been really difficult. Have you kind of like with your experience having to go through that, and then now that you're doing a little bit better, what strategies did you have to kind of help with some of those thoughts and deal with some of the, I guess, shame tactics that people were putting on you from religion?
Well, I just remembered that like there were gods before the Christian God, and that if the Christian God was correct, it would be like, I don't know, 1 in a billion chance, especially for counting all the other gods that are in the world.
Was that something that motivated you prior to this experience? You said that people were telling you that your hobbies were going to send you to hell. Did you believe that beforehand, or how did that affect your belief in a God, that experience?
Well, before then, I didn't really care on the matter that much, to be honest. But like after it happened, I was like, no, it's ridiculous. But my brain was like, yes, Ryan, listen to all of their words. Take them as literal.
So are you saying that about the hell threat? I mean, because like as an atheist, if somebody tells me I'm going to hell, it's just like, oh, I don't, that's not something that I worry about. And it sounds like something that affected you when people told you that, and you also said, you were just saying about how there was, something inside of you. I don't know if you were referring necessarily to a literal voice, but I kind of get what you mean there. You're kind of, your habits of thinking were kind of pushing you in that direction already. So maybe it was something that you were raised on. Maybe you were brought up believing in hell. A lot of people say that particular fear of hell is difficult to shake. Do you think that you were on your way out of religion and were just having difficulty shaking the hell belief, or were you a believer at the time, or what was the net effect of the things that the people told you?
Well, let me tell you, the last time I went to church, and I was 3 years old, and I'm sorry, my brain just emptied.
No problem.
Oh, that's fine. I was just curious as to your progression and your story and your development over time. And how are you different today than you were or before that? What you said you stopped going to church at age 3. Was it because of, were people telling you at age 3 that you were going to go to hell and that your hobbies were going to be what takes you there? Or is that something that happened since you stopped going to church?
My family just fell out of interest with it.
So who were the people that were telling you these things?
Boring. Oh, people online.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I know that there's a lot of shame tactics that are done in religion, and I know for anybody with even a shred of neurodivergence, it can be very difficult to, number one, have a lot of the connections that some people rely on in those church settings. I know for me, I had noticed that churches, at least like in the youth sections of churches, had like very similar personalities among all of the people that fit in there. And if you deviated in some way, you weren't really accepted, but you were still expected to show up. And that's something that kind of led me out of religion. Like in the very beginning, it was kind of the first thing that I noticed was I don't feel the sense of belonging here that a lot of other people do. And there's this kind of double-edged sword with some of those communities where it's like you feel like that's the only place you can go because I don't know if your parents have made you show up or if that's just the only place you are around people consistently other than school. Like you feel like that's the place you need to go. And you're told, hey, if you don't go here, then you're wrong or you're sinful or whatever. But then kind of being in those environments can be very problematic for people that don't fit in well. There is this social hierarchy within church settings and even in youth services. I noticed a lot of that. There are people who fit very specific personalities of like youth pastor personalities that were kind of set up for success in those places. Like they had networking, they had like the positions in the church band and stuff. Like they were able to lead small groups. And a lot of that too was people who were men, like, or assigned male, were able to do more of those things. But if you didn't fit in, you were kind of like silently ostracized, which it's very interesting thinking about church culture in that way. But I think kind of like it sounds like you have a little bit different of experience, but either way, you were in a position where this thing wasn't working for you. This wasn't the place that was helpful for you in your situation and even may have caused some other problems, but people kept coming in and saying, you have to do this or you're going to hell, or you have to do the right things. Am I kind of touching on something that kind of fits your experience?
Not really. All of this really just happened online, to be honest. When I went to church, I barely remember church, by the way. It's just that I went online, like some websites, and I was like, oh, like, I don't really believe in God. And all of a sudden, I was bombastic with people that were like, fuck you, or like, screw you.
Yeah, I would recommend like setting up some boundaries if there are people, especially on the internet, because it's a very toxic place out there. If people are being hostile, it's totally okay to not interact with those people. And one of the healthiest things for me has been kind of taking a step back from those discussions on the internet. Even as much as I love debating on the internet, sometimes it's too hostile, it's not effective. And so sometimes I just put up boundaries and I walk away. And I hope that you don't feel forced to be in those situations. But I think we're gonna end up moving on to the next caller. Is there anything else you wanted us to hear about today?
I just want to say everyone in my life is wonderful. They did not give a crap that I don't believe in God at all.
That's awesome. I'm glad you have some people that are positive around you. And with that, we're gonna let you go, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your Sunday. But thank you so much for calling in. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Ryan.